All right. Are you ready to unlock some serious coding superpowers?
Yeah, with Python, right?
Python. You got it.
I love it.
I've got like a whole stack of research here all about getting started with Python.
Awesome.
And let me tell you, even just looking at the simple stuff,
Oh, yeah.
I'm way more fascinated than I thought I would be.
Absolutely.
Like, the stuff that Python can do is incredible.
What's really cool is that learning a few, like, even basic commands can open up so much possibility. It's not just about building, like, the most complex apps, right? It's also about just empowering yourself to solve problems and just automate all those little tedious things that you don't want to do.
Exactly. And one of our sources was saying they figured out a way to organize thousands of files, like, instantly with Python.
Oh, wow.
Imagine what you could do with that kind of efficiency, you know?
Right.
No more hunting for that one document buried in like a million folders.
Yeah, it's a great example of how it can be practical,
Right.
even just at a beginner level. Yeah.
But then you have Python powering massive platforms like YouTube and, you know, even shaping the future of healthcare with data analysis and AI.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. So, okay, let's unpack this whole, like, writing a program thing.
Good.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The thought of coding always used to kind of intimidate me.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was so complicated.
It seems that way, yeah.
But from what I'm reading here, it's all about just breaking down these really complex tasks into simple step-by-step instructions.
That's a great way to think about it.
Okay.
You're basically giving the computer a recipe to follow.
Oh, okay.
And Python is like the language that you use to write that recipe.
Okay, I can handle a recipe.
Exactly.
So where do we even begin? Where do we even start? Our sources keep mentioning this Hello World program.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
It's like a tradition in the coding world.
Oh, really?
You know, your first step into a new language is this super simple program.
That just prints out the text Hello World on your screen.
Yeah.
But it's more than just a greeting, right?
Right.
It's about understanding how to give a computer a basic instruction and see it come to life.
Okay, so let's see this magic in action.
Okay.
What does the actual code look like?
It's surprisingly straightforward.
Oh.
You simply use the print command,
Okay.
followed by the text that you want to display, enclosed in parentheses and quotation marks.
Oh, yeah.
Like this python.print, hello world.
So Python just sees that line of code.
Yeah.
And it knows to display the words hello world.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
And you can print out anything you want.
Oh, okay.
They could even try something like python.print. I'm learning Python and it's awesome.
Okay, I see how this works.
Yeah.
So we're just telling the computer exactly what we want it to do.
Yes.
One step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we go beyond just printing out static text, right?
Right.
Can we make our programs, I don't know, a bit more interactive?
Absolutely, yeah. That's
Okay.
where the concept of user input comes in.
Okay.
We can actually write programs that take information from the user and then use that information to create a personalized experience.
Ooh. Okay, that sounds way more interesting.
Yeah.
Give me an example.
So let's say we want to write a program that greets you by name.
Okay.
We can use the input command to ask for your name
Got it.
and then incorporate that into the greeting.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Show me the code.
All right, so here's how it would look.
Okay.
Python. Name input. What's your name? Print. Hello, name. Let's learn Python together.
All right, let's break this down. What's happening in each line?
So the first line is using the input command
Okay.
to ask what's your name.
Right.
Whatever you type in is then stored in a variable called name.
So it's like giving a label to the information we're getting from the user.
Precisely, yeah.
Okay.
Then the second line uses that stored name
Okay.
to personalize the greeting. The F before the quotation marks tells Python to insert the value of the name variable into that spot.
So if I type in my name, the program will actually say, hello, my name, let's learn Python together.
Exactly.
Oh, that's slick. I mean, it feels like we're already starting to build something real here.
What's fascinating here is that this seemingly simple input-output interaction forms the foundation of so much of the technology we use every day.
Wait, so you're saying that something as basic as
Yeah.
asking for a name and saying hello
Yeah.
is like related to how, I don't know, chatbots work or something.
Absolutely. Think about it. A chatbot takes your input,
Right.
processes it, and then generates a response based on that input.
Oh, wow.
It's the same fundamental principle at work,
Right.
just on a much larger and more complex scale.
Whoa, so even though we're just starting our Python journey,
Yeah.
we're already learning the building blocks of seriously cool technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as we go deeper into Python, you'll see how these building blocks can be combined to create programs that solve real-world problems, automate tasks, and even make intelligent decisions.
This is getting me fired up.
Awesome.
I'm so excited about this. So before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to challenge you, dear listener, to flex your new Python muscles a bit.
I love a good challenge. What do you have in mind?
Okay, take that last program we looked at,
Okay.
the one that asks for your name,
Right.
and modify it.
All right.
See if you can make it ask for your favorite color.
Ooh. Okay.
And then respond with a fun fact about that color.
That's a fantastic way to apply what we've learned.
Yeah.
And start thinking creatively with code.
Yeah.
Coding is all about experimenting and having fun.
I can't wait to see what you all come up with. I'm always learning new coding tricks myself.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring to see what other people are doing with it.
So what's jumping out at you about these simple programs?
What?
Do you see how these basic concepts could be used to solve problems or create something new?
Yeah. I think what's really cool is that, like, if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, these basic principles of input and output are like the DNA of so many applications we use every day.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing to think about.
It really is. And as you continue learning Python, remember to keep asking yourself,
Yeah.
what problems can I solve with this? You might be surprised at the innovative solutions you come up with.
This is so cool. Okay, I'm ready to dive even deeper into this.
Right.
What's next on our agenda?
So we've talked about giving instructions and getting input.
Yeah.
But now it's time to explore how we can teach our programs to make decisions, to think logically, and respond differently based on certain conditions.
Now we're talking. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So it's fascinating how those simple programs, can lay the groundwork for some pretty amazing and complex applications.
Absolutely.
And speaking of complexity,
Okay.
let's talk about data.
Okay.
Our sources are all over this. Python's ability to handle data is a huge part of its appeal, right?
Okay, data handling.
Yeah.
I get that it's important, but I need a little more than it's important. Can you break it down for me?
Yeah.
What does it actually mean for a programming language to handle data?
Well, think about all the information that you encounter every day, right?
Okay.
Numbers, text, dates,
Right.
even images and sounds. That's all data.
Okay.
And Python gives us the tools to organize, manipulate, and just make sense of it all.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, our research mentioned Python being used in healthcare and data science.
Yes.
Those fields are drowning in data, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, imagine you're a researcher with thousands of patient health records.
Okay.
Python can sift through that mountain of data,
Right.
identify patterns, maybe even predict who's at risk for certain diseases.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. So how does Python actually work with data? Are we talking like fancy spreadsheets or something?
Not quite. Python uses these special structures called data structures to store and organize information.
Okay.
One of the most common is a list, which is basically an ordered collection of items.
So a list in Python is like a to-do list in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You can add items, check them off, rearrange them.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Okay, so how do we actually use those lists?
Let's say you're building a program to manage your coding projects, okay?
Okay.
You could use a list to store the name of each project,
Oh.
the date you created it, maybe even like the number of lines of code.
Okay.
And Python gives you commands to add new projects, mark them as complete, or even sort them by priority.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this works.
Yeah.
Our source also mentioned things like calculating averages and like finding the highest value in a set of numbers. Can Python do all that?
Absolutely. Python has tons of built-in functions that can do calculations and analyze lists of data. Let's say you had a list of the ages of everyone learning Python right now,
Okay.
Python could easily tell you the average age, the youngest learner, even the most common age.
So if I had a list of, say, how many lines of code I write each day,
Yeah.
Python could tell me my average output,
Yes.
my most productive day, all that.
Exactly. You could even use Python to create a chart or graph to visualize those coding stats.
Oh, wow.
It's a great way to track your progress,
Yeah.
see how you're improving over time.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah,
It seems like we're moving from like, hello world,
I know.
to some pretty sophisticated stuff.
Yeah, but it all builds on those basic concepts we talked about earlier, right?
Right.
You're still giving the computer instructions, just in a more structured and powerful way.
You know, when we first started talking about Python,
Yeah.
The whole superpower analogy seemed a bit much.
Right.
But now I'm starting to see the potential. Like our source mentioned Python being used in AI. That seems like a huge leap from like organizing to-do lists.
It might seem like a leap.
Right.
But at its core, AI is about processing data, finding patterns, and making decisions based on those patterns.
Okay.
And Python gives you the tools to do that on a massive scale.
So when we talk about AI, are we talking about like self-driving cars?
Yeah.
Robots that can hold conversations, like all that?
You got it. Those are all examples of AI in action.
Wow.
And Python is often the language behind those advancements.
Wow.
It's used to build algorithms that can recognize images, understand human language, even learn and adapt over time.
Okay, this is officially mind-blowing.
I know, it's exciting stuff.
We're just scratching the surface of Python.
Yeah.
But we're already talking about the technology that's shaping the future.
And as you learn more about Python, you'll see how these seemingly complex concepts are built on the same fundamental ideas we've been discussing.
Right.
Giving clear instructions, manipulating data, and controlling the flow of information.
Okay, I'm ready to level up my Python skills. But before we go any further, I need a little more clarity on like the different types of data Python can work with.
Okay.
You mentioned lists, but our sources also talk about dictionaries and sets.
Right. Right.
What's the deal with those?
So Python can handle all sorts of data types, right?
Right.
It can juggle numbers, text, true, false values. Those are called Booleans.
Okay.
And even more complex structures like dictionaries and sets.
Okay.
Each one is designed for specific tasks,
right,
making Python incredibly versatile.
Okay, dictionaries and sets.
Yeah.
Those sound more like math class.
I know, right?
Than coding.
Yeah.
Can you give me some like real world examples?
Sure.
Of how we'd use those in Python?
So let's start with dictionaries.
Okay.
Imagine you're building a program to, track your progress as you learn Python.
Okay.
You could use a dictionary to store information about each coding concept.
Okay, so the dictionary is like the container.
Yeah, think of it like that.
And what goes inside it?
You store information in key value pairs.
Okay.
The key is like a label. And the value is the information itself.
Got it.
So for your coding progress tracker, you could have a key called loops.
Okay.
And the value could be a description of what you've learned about loops, maybe some example code, even a rating of how well you understand the concept. So if you wanted to check your understanding of control flow, you would just look up the key control flow in your dictionary. And it would show you all the information you've stored about it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, dictionaries I got. What about sets?
All right, so sets are great for ensuring you only have unique values in a collection.
Okay.
Think about it like a guest list for a coding party.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to accidentally invite the same person twice, right?
Right.
A set would automatically prevent duplicates.
So if I had a list of all the Python commands I've learned, and I accidentally added like print twice, a set would clean it up.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Would make sure there's only one print in the list.
Okay, so it keeps the data clean.
Yes. Sets are super helpful for keeping your data clean and efficient.
Got it.
Yeah.
This is all starting to click, like it's all coming together.
Fine.
Python gives us all these different tools, right, for organizing and manipulating data.
Yeah.
And we can use those tools to build programs that do all sorts of amazing things.
Exactly. And as you delve deeper into Python,
yeah,
you'll discover even more advanced data structures and techniques for handling those complex data challenges you might encounter in the real world.
Okay, bring it on. I'm ready for the challenge.
That's the spirit.
The dictionaries, the sets, the lists. I'm feeling empowered to tackle it all.
That's awesome.
You know, one of the things that struck me about our source material was this recurring theme of Python being a superpower.
Right.
At first, I thought it was a bit cheesy, but now I'm starting to get it.
Yeah, I think what resonates with people is the idea that coding gives you the ability to create, automate, and solve problems in ways that just weren't possible before.
Yeah, it's like you're gaining a new set of skills that expand your horizons and allow you to interact with technology on a whole new level.
It empowers you to take control of technology and shape it to your needs rather than simply being a passive consumer.
And with Python, it feels like that power is accessible to anyone who's willing to learn.
Absolutely.
It's not just for like computer science whizzes. It's a language that's designed to be intuitive and beginner friendly.
Exactly. And the community around Python is incredibly supportive.
Oh, that's good.
There are tons of resources, online forums where you can ask questions.
Yeah.
Even free online courses to guide you through the learning process.
That's so encouraging. I'm starting to feel like learning Python is not just achievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I can actually enjoy.
Yeah.
And have fun with.
That's the best part. When you approach learning with curiosity and a sense of play, the possibilities become truly endless.
Okay, before we get too carried away with our newfound coding superpowers.
Right.
How about a quick recap?
Yeah, let's do it.
Of what we've covered so far, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Sounds good.
So we started by exploring those basic principles of Python.
Right.
Giving instructions with commands like print, getting input from the user, and the idea of breaking down complex tasks into simpler steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we moved on to data handling.
Right.
And how Python uses structures like lists, dictionaries, and sets to organize and manipulate information in a way that makes it useful for solving real-world problems.
Absolutely. And we even touched on how those concepts are applied in fields like data science and AI.
Right.
Highlighting just how powerful and versatile Python can be.
It's been a whirlwind tour of Python's capabilities.
Yeah, it has.
But we've only just begun to explore its potential. So before we dive into the next exciting chapter, I want to leave you with a little something to ponder.
Ooh, a cliffhanger. I love it.
What thought-provoking question are you going to leave our listeners with today?
All right. So I want you to think about all the technology you interact with every day, okay?
Okay.
The apps you use, the websites you visit, the devices you rely on.
Right.
And then ask yourself, could any of these be built or improved with Python?
That's a fantastic challenge.
Yeah.
It encourages them to see the potential of coding not just as a technical skill,
right,
but as a tool for creativity, innovation, and problem solving in the real world.
Exactly. It's about empowering them to see themselves as creators, not just consumers of technology.
And who knows? Maybe this deep dive will spark a passion that leads them to build the next big thing.
I have a feeling we've planted some seeds of inspiration today. I can't wait to see what blossoms from this deep dive into the world of Python.
Now, are you ready to add another layer to your Python knowledge?
Let's do it.
Okay, we've talked about giving instructions and managing data.
Right.
But how do we teach our programs to make decisions?
Ooh, okay.
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, it's all about control flow, right?
Okay.
The logic behind how a program responds to different situations.
Okay.
And trust me, this is where the real magic of coding starts to happen.
Okay, so we're back. And we're ready to talk about control flow.
Yes, control flow.
This is the part that I was most curious about.
Oh, awesome.
It just sounds so interesting, so lay it on me.
It's where, the real logic of programming comes through, right?
Okay.
Control flow is all about giving your program the ability to make decisions, to react differently based on specific conditions, you know?
So it's not just about, following a set of instructions anymore.
Yeah.
We're giving it the power to, choose its own adventure almost.
Exactly. You got it. Think about it like navigating a maze, right?
Okay.
You encounter forks in the path, and you have to decide which way to go based on, what you see ahead.
Right.
Control flow lets you build those decision points into your Python code.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we actually build those decision points?
Yeah.
What's the code look like?
One of the most fundamental tools for control flow is the if statement.
Okay.
It's like saying to your program, hey, if this condition is true,
right,
then do this, otherwise do something else.
So can you give me a real world example of how we'd use an if statement?
Sure. Let's say you're building that program to track your coding progress, like we talked about earlier.
Okay.
You could use an if statement to check if you've completed a certain number of coding challenges.
Right.
If you have, the program could print out, a congratulatory message.
Oh,
maybe even unlock a new set of challenges.
Oh, I like that. Build in a reward system. And if not, just keep going.
If not, it could encourage you to keep practicing.
Okay, I'm already seeing how I could use this in some of my own projects.
Awesome.
What about those else-if statements our sources mentioned?
Right. Else-if statements let you check multiple conditions in sequence.
Okay.
So let's say you're building that movie recommender program we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You could use a series of if and else-if statements to check the user's mood and suggest different genres.
So if they say they're feeling happy, The program suggests a comedy?
Exactly. If they're feeling adventurous, it suggests an action movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's all about creating like personalized experiences
Right.
based on the user's input.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You could use the same logic to build games, quizzes, interactive stories. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
This is amazing. We're taking those basic building blocks, right?
Yeah.
Input, output, and adding this whole new layer of decision making. It feels like our programs are actually starting to think.
Yeah, and we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
Python also has powerful looping structures, like for and while loops, that let you repeat actions multiple times.
Loops. Okay, what kind of situations would we use those for?
Okay, so imagine you want to analyze a huge list of data.
Okay.
Maybe the number of lines of code you write each day for a whole year.
Right, yeah.
Instead of manually going through each day's data, you could use a loop to automatically calculate your average output.
Got it.
Your most productive day, and even identify trends or patterns.
So loops are like automating those repetitive tasks.
Exactly.
You got it.
Okay, that seems really useful, especially when you're talking about like a whole year's worth of data.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Loops are essential for working with large data sets, performing complex calculations, and even creating animations or games.
Wait, games? We can use loops to build games.
Yeah. Think about like a game character that moves across the screen.
Oh, a loop could be used to repeat the move forward instruction over and over, creating the illusion of movement.
We're going from organizing files to building games.
Yeah.
All with the same
I know, right?
Python tools.
It's amazing.
The superpower thing is starting to feel very real to me.
Yeah, and remember, all of this builds upon those fundamental concepts, right?
Right.
Clear instructions, data manipulation, and now control flow.
Yeah.
It's like you're learning a new way of thinking, a way of breaking down complex problems into small, manageable steps.
Yeah, it really does feel like almost like learning a new language.
Yeah.
But not just for computers, but for solving problems.
Absolutely.
And like expressing ideas in a more structured, logical way.
You got it. You can change the way you approach challenges in all areas of life.
It really can.
Yeah.
This has been an awesome deep dive into Python. I feel like I've learned so much.
Yeah, me too.
We've gone from hello world all the way to the power of control flow and loops.
Yeah, you got a solid foundation now.
I really feel like I can start building some amazing things.
And the best part is we've only just scratched the surface, right?
Yeah. There's more.
There's so much more to explore in the world of Python. Advanced data structures, libraries for specific tasks, and frameworks for building like really complex applications.
This has been so inspiring. And before we wrap up, I want to make sure that our listener knows like where to go from here.
Okay.
You know, what the next steps are.
Yeah.
Our sources mentioned something about setting up a coding environment.
Yes. Yeah.
What does that mean?
So think of it as creating like a dedicated workspace for your Python projects.
Okay.
It's where you'll write and run your code, experiment with new ideas, and just build your coding skills.
So what does a typical coding environment look like?
So there are different options available, but one of the most popular is an integrated development environment, or IDE for short. An IDE is like a supercharged text editor designed specifically for coding.
Okay.
It gives you all these helpful features like code highlighting, auto-completion.
Gotcha.
And debugging tools.
Ooh, debugging tools.
Yes.
That sounds important. I'm guessing that helps when you
Absolutely.
make mistakes, because I'm assuming I'm going to make a lot of mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes when they're coding.
Okay, good.
Debugging tools help you find and fix those errors quickly.
Okay.
Saving you a lot of time and frustration.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to look into setting up an IDE so I can start practicing and experimenting.
And remember, the Python community is incredibly supportive, right?
Right.
There are tons of online resources, forums where you can ask questions, and tutorials that walk you through every step of the learning process.
I am feeling so empowered and excited to keep learning.
Awesome.
Like, this has been such a journey. We've gone from the very basics of Python to exploring its applications in data science, AI, and even game development.
It's been a true deep dive. Hopefully our listeners feel inspired to continue exploring this vast and fascinating world of Python.
Who knows? Maybe this deep dive will spark a passion that leads one of our listeners to build the next big thing.
It's an exciting thought.
I know. It's a very exciting thought.
Yeah.
Well, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for guiding me through this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been an absolute blast.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and remember, the only limit is your imagination.
So true.